You are the dead. Remain exactly where you are. Make no move until you are ordered.
We burn them to ashes and then burn the ashes. That's our official motto.
Now we can see you. Clasp your hands behind your heads. Stand out in the middle of the room. Stand back to back.
Who can explain the fascination of fire? What draws us to it, whether we're young or old?
Here comes a candle to light you to bed. Here comes a chopper to chop off your head.
And welcome to the American Greed Factory podcast. This is Nathan.
This is Conlon.
Andrew?
We're all here.
Which one of us will die first? Tune in next week.
Isolation Bunker, day 749.
Gonna check in with the TP report. I still have plenty of toilet paper. You guys know.
Yeah, that's back now that they've started telling people they can't buy 30 containers of it. You know. Stop putting toilet paper on your 29% interest credit cards.
Is everybody getting their stimulus check?
No, I haven't got mine yet.
You haven't got yours yet?
No.
Oh, I didn't get mine either because I filed H&R Block and that fucked everything. Yeah, I guess if you filed through H&R Block or TurboTax, they use their account to pay or get your refund and pay you, so you don't have an account on file with the government. So I had to file mine this week, and it's been accepted. But when I go to status, it acts like I haven't filed anything, so I have to figure out what the fuck's going on with that.
Yeah, my stuff got fixed because so with TurboTax, I use the return to pay for TurboTax. So the money goes to their account first, and then they give it to me.
Okay.
So yeah, that might have been something weird. But the last year's taxes, I didn't do that. But it's pending till April 22nd is when it's supposed to go in.
Oh.
But at first it was just like status unavailable, and I was like, well, fuck.
So did you actually use my payment then, or no? Or get my payment, sorry, on the IRS website?
Yes.
Okay.
As far as I know, well, it said something that it only works like once a day, so you can only check once a day, and they update at night.
Oh.
So if you get one status a day, it's going to say that status for the rest of the day.
Oh, well, that's no, because we filed ours. We had to file ours under the non-filers because we couldn't get my payment to work at all. Like it doesn't recognize either of our socials, so we had to do that. And then we were confused because it said in the you have to use line 7 your gross adjusted income and put what it is. And ours was 84,000 last year. We didn't file our taxes for this year yet because we kind of forgot about it. But basically it said, put the taxpayer's income, then put your spouse's income. And if it was the same as your overall income was the same as the taxpayer income, just put $84,000 twice, basically. And so I don't know what the hell's going on with that because it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, get my payment was supposed to let you register, but it doesn't seem to let you do any of that. So I don't know where else you're supposed to do that stuff because all their directions are kind of confusing and not very helpful.
Yeah, I just went on the IRS website and put in my direct deposit information, and that's all I've done. So I haven't heard anything yet because I never got my tax returns direct deposited before. Because the guy who does my taxes doesn't like to do that. So, but now they'll have that information.
Yeah, TurboTax always has some weird stuff where you could like one year I got like half of my return back in bonds, savings bonds.
Yeah.
Which ultimately I only made $20 off of, and I had them around for like a year, or no, 2 years or something. I was like, well, that wasn't worth it.
It was never worth it.
And then there's like 1 year they allowed you could get it back in Amazon credit, but for like 1.25%. Like you'd get extra money in Amazon credit.
Oh, and Amazon bucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was weird. But they didn't do anything
Yeah.
weird this year. There was just straight up cash this year.
Yeah. No, I haven't heard anything about it. I finally got my unemployment coming in.
Oh, it took that long to start getting your unemployment.
Yeah. Yeah. This is why I put money in the bank, because I never count on anything.
Well, I mean,
I don't want to be under a bridge sucking dick any sooner than I have to be.
I only plan on going there on Tuesdays. I don't want to be there all week.
Yeah.
I mean, no, it was.
Some people still haven't. Some people have been laid off work since mid-March and haven't got it. So. But that's because the systems, to the bottom of the 2008 recession, we had about 10% as many people as have filed for unemployment now. So.
No, I mean, I kind of understand there's going to be a gap as far as like even in normal times, like with unemployment, it's not going to be immediate. But at the same time, they just seem, I know they're overwhelmed, but they seem to have not expected everybody to like be asking for handouts right away, like not needing money like immediately. It's like they assume we're all going to be good for 4 or 5 months before they had to pay us.
Yeah, everyone's got 6 months worth of payments in the bank.
Yep, all those people living off food stamps are just hoarding money. Everybody knows that.
Welfare queen. Buying mink coats. Crab legs.
Yeah, but recently I've been getting into, because everything just seems like a bummer, but like I've been getting into cooking videos on YouTube. So it's like just being like, oh yeah, that's something I could do, but not really. Because I don't have the stuff on hand, but
yeah, it's inspiring to watch.
But yeah, I saw on Reddit there's that guy sent to YouTube. It's called That's What I Reckon. He's some Australian comedian, meathead comedian, and he shows you how to cook. They're really funny because it's basically just like, here's how you cook, and then he just swears the whole time. But he has the right amount of, he has like an impossible amount of like cynicism and like encouragement. It's like really hard to pull off, but he manages to pull it off.
Yeah, he managed to be insulting and inspiring at the same time.
Because the thing he hates is packet stuff. Like he makes a mushroom risotto and he like looks at a packet and he's like, "There's not even mushrooms in this," and he just knocks it aside. Then he shows you how to make some mushroom risotto. And like he's not technical at all, but it's just still funny anyways. He's like, just cook the shit till it's smaller.
Yeah, I like the basically the bacon, bacon parm.
Carbonara.
Fried. Yeah, he's like, now you're gonna want to put the spaghetti in the mix, but don't just pour it in, because if you mix water and grease, it'll fucking explode. A little bit at a time. Don't be an idiot. It's just stuff like that.
No, did you guys watch the chorizo lasagna episode he did?
No, I didn't know.
Because like in the entire,
does he have another new one?
Because this was like a month and a half ago or 2 months ago. He posted that one. Because he had a lasagna episode when he did it in his apartment, and he was obviously swearing it the whole time and shit and being cool. But the newer one, he was like drunk off his ass at the same time and just like, fuck it, put that in there. Just, whatever. Just the whole time. It was kind of funny, but it was really cool to watch.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to make carbonara sometime this week.
Looks like good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, where you cut up a pound of bacon.
Yeah, I don't think I can get hold of pancetta here, at least not now. But
just bacon.
Yeah, it's the same thing. The only thing the only thing I worry about is like it seems like the hardest part is the whole egg part. Like if you have it too hot, you're basically just having scrambled eggs and spaghetti.
Yeah.
Which actually doesn't sound too bad, but
you want to turn that down because the yellow part of the egg will just fluff immediately.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to turn that down and let the grease do its work and mix with it. I've cooked things like that before. I've been grilling a lot lately.
Grilling, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like
You don't got to use butter, and there's no butter.
yeah, there's no butter. There's no
or
you can't
start
find,
cooking with mayonnaise.
yeah, I don't miss it. Well, what's going on here is you still got the stupid thing where everyone buys ground beef, but you can't find ground beef to save your life. But you can find steaks that they're heavily discounting because nobody wants to. You got whiskey in that? Because nobody wants to.
Just water.
Oh darn! I was hoping they were gonna do like some kind of whiskey bong.
My last Marine Corps gift. They didn't want they didn't want to take the inside of this because they'd have to clean it, so they gave it to me.
Oh, God bless them. Yeah. So yeah, I've got like all kinds of steak and stuff because they just fire sale the steak. Now hamburger they want $7 a pound for, but you can get like 4 giant T-bones for $20 now and shit like that. Now you got to cook those things like pretty quick, but
yeah, or you can freeze them.
Or freeze them. Yeah.
I don't understand why people wouldn't buy steak right now. It just doesn't make any goddamn sense.
I don't know.
It's still expensive.
Yeah, it's not cheap, but
even discounted, it's like still like you're spending $10 on, just like a half a pound of meat, or maybe 2 pounds maybe.
Well, I mean, I get it. Like, I've been to Hy-Vee and Walmart and seen like everything's cleaned out except for the pig knuckles and the shitty cuts of meat nobody wants. But like, it doesn't make any sense why it's like, oh yeah, leave the steak. No one wants steak. You can't do anything with it. Like, no, you fucking can.
Well, here I don't think you can buy steak with like aid cards and stuff.
Oh,
I think Michigan's one of those states where they're real restricted.
Weird.
Well, you got to remember we had before. What's the guy's name? Guy who was governor when I was. Before we had because when Blanchard was governor, there were people that were coming from Canada that wanted to live in Michigan because they had it so. It was like you're better off not working here. Almost, they had insane like welfare shit here. They were the last state for that. And then when they brought in the guy who replaced Blanchard, I can't think, it was Engler. Engler got rid of all that, and they got real strict on what you could buy with food stamps and stuff here, because there were people that they found people that since the 1950s had no one in the whole family had a job, like never, and they were actually had as much or more money to budget for family food during the week than people that were working full time and overtime. And so, yeah, Michigan's got the weird rules because they have signs everywhere like you can't buy this with SNAP, you can't buy that with SNAP, you can't. So, yeah, that might be maybe one of the reasons why. I don't know, because they got everyone's on food stamps now too. They got a bunch of people on that.
But yeah, if you can't find ground beef, sometimes they have, at least Walmart does. They just have frozen ground beef that gets sent to us, and sometimes people miss that. And only look for the fresh ground beef. We do have rolls of frozen ground beef.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just get my mutton chops and stuff that nobody wants. It's like lamb chops? Sure. Rack of lamb? How much? $12? Okay. Sure.
Yeah, we still got a fuckload of fish if you want it.
I don't really like fish a lot.
Yeah, neither does anybody else, but
I mean, if I was starving to death, I like fish sticks. Yeah.
What about fish sticks?
They're just with homemade. Ever make homemade tartar sauce with lemon oil?
Oh, I've never made homemade tartar sauce.
Yeah, if you make homemade tartar sauce, it's basically just mayonnaise and there's a kind of pickle you buy or whatever, and then lemon oil. It's like really good. It's like you'll work your way through 100 fish sticks just because the tartar sauce is good.
No, it's I have some fish and vegetables up in my freezer. I just always tell myself I'm going to eat that like every day, but like I might do it like 1 or 2 days a week, but that's about it. I eat fish and I like it. It's just not something I got to eat every day.
Yeah, we're running it. Let's see, what are we short of now? Let's see, what are we running out of in Michigan? Oh, you can't find bananas to save your ass. You can't find good apples. You can find apples that are almost applesauce already. I don't know what that's all about.
I'm kind of surprised that like fresh produce is still being like bought in quantities.
Well, I don't know if it's being bought in quantities or there's nothing coming. I don't know. Grayson They told Grayson he has to go back to work next week, so we'll have our inside man again. I can call, say like, "Hey, do we got this? Do we got that? Can you let me in the back door?" Because they're doing the lineup now at every store like that, where you can only have like 200 people in the store or 100 people in the store.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some thing that's supposed to be like one person per how many square feet of space, but like if you but like a Walmart is so big that you can pretty much just like let anybody in that can come in.
Yeah, they don't really do that because I try to do all my stuff early in the morning, but I can't do it too early because they got the golden hours for the seniors, so they won't let you in then. And then but you don't want to go like at noon or something, because then they'll start doing the cattle herd lineup, and a loaf of bread and some peanut butter will turn into a 3-hour, swimming backwards through ice. So that's I don't know.
I don't see. There's not a lot of people. I've been to Walmart and Hy-Vee earlier in the day, and they prioritize or at least Hy-Vee does, the door you can go in for seniors, but they don't really seem to stop anybody coming in that isn't a senior for some reason. So I don't know if they're just trying to like not hurt their business or what.
I don't know who they got to facilitate that, because here they actually have cops. Like they'll pay off-duty cops for walking doors, but that's because also shoplifting got really bad here.
Oh.
Like terrible bad. Like you didn't have enough people in the store to guess what was being stolen. And it's always liquor and stuff. It's not people stealing formula to feed their kids. It's always somebody stuffing a book bag full of 20 bottles of liquor, and just like doing the old-fashioned football run for the door. Like they're not going to stop. And you can't shoot them here anymore for that. So well, not yet. It might come back.
Well, I mean, maybe it's for disinfecting. They're using all that whiskey and bourbon to disinfect their surgical tools.
Yeah, that could
something.
Vodka kills the corona. The virus? No, the beer.
Yeah. It's mainly what are the big things that are stolen here? Hennessy and Patron. They had to move all that behind. Like you got to go up to a desk and get a key from a manager to get a bottle of that. Hennessy just like overpriced brandy. I never got that. I always like Crown Royal myself. It's a good rock.
Yeah.
And the other thing I discovered this week, I watched one of the Red Letter Media. They did a review of Freaked, which was the Alex Winter, like sort of monster comedy.
Was that the one with Keanu Reeves was in it, but he was uncredited? Almost?
Yeah, he was a dog.
Okay, and the guy, the brother went.
Randy Quaid's in it. Yeah.
Randy Quaid's in it. Okay, yeah, I remember that movie from a long.
And Mr. T is the bearded woman, and Bobcat Goldthwait as a human sock.
Oh yeah, and that was the old Bobcat Goldthwait. Right? Yeah. Now, was that on Liquid Television or something, or on MTV, or
not?
That seemed to be that whole era of stuff.
Well, the thing that came out of that is like, so Alex Winter was like an NYU grad, and in the early days of like the early '90s of MTV, like around Liquid Television, he had a TV show called Idiot Box.
Oh, okay.
No, it's only like 6 or 8 episodes long.
Right.
But like I never knew he did this. But like you watch it, it's like, oh yeah. But it's like, and it's only like, and it was like kind of like the Beavis and Butthead thing where it's like you only did like 10 to 12 minutes of footage, and then everything was intermixed with music videos.
Right.
Yeah, so I watched all the Idiot Box stuff. It's pretty funny. It's also like just interesting to see how much they just recycled stuff. Like, oh, this is real low budget, because like every skit basically had a minute intro, and then like every subsequent episode had that intro. So like, well, there's a minute, just knocking off the runtime. The very first shot on the episode is it's like a couple of gangsters are in a car, and you hear a knocking from the trunk. They get out and they open up the trunk, and he's like, Alex Winter's like, "Hi, I'm Alex Winter. Welcome to Idiot Box. Like on tonight's show," and he's like introducing the show, and like the gangsters are like stabbing him to death. He's like spitting out blood. It's in black and white. It's like, and it's also kind of some weird audio, because I don't think they had audio on hand, so I think they just recorded it afterwards. So he like dubbed over his own voice.
Yeah.
So it has that kind of like weird quality to it. So that was pretty funny. And then every episode has Eddie the Flying Gimp from Outer Space, which is like, it's supposed to be kind of like a Leave It to Beaver or My Favorite Martian, like a combination of that, like making fun of 1950s TV.
Right.
And that gets weird. It's just him with like kind of a shirt over his head, and he has like weird prosthetic teeth that like stick out of the front of his mouth. And then it's just like, it's Eddie the Flying Gimp, and he's just kind of like flying around making weird thing, and they rotoscoped him, make it look like he's flying. There's one episode that's like really dark. Well, I guess they're all kind of dark. Everything about this is fucking dark, but it's also just random and crazy, like early MTV was, like Liquid Television, and nowadays you just say it's Adult Swim. There's one where like, so Eddie the Flying Gimp flies up to like the house of the family he hangs out with, and he's just flying there, and like the parents out there, it's like, oh hey Eddie, how's it going? And he waves at him, and then the kid gets out on the roof, and he's like, I can fly too, and he jumps off the roof and just like breaks his legs, and then like they blame him for like making the kid jump. And so he does the Superman thing where he goes and flies into space and like reverses time. And then when he gets back, he doesn't stop the kid from jumping. He just like distracts the parents and brings them around back. And then he like goats the kid into trying to fly, who then jumps and breaks his legs again. And then he goes and like warns the parents, like, "Oh no, your kid," like without saying anything. He's like, "Oh, come over here." And then they like thank Eddie for warning them that their kid broke his legs. It's like, that's fucked up.
A muted moral message of, hey, as long as I'm not getting blamed.
And then there's one that was like super fucked up too. It was like it was another like making fun of family comedies, and it was a family called the Huggins. And they're like, they have some like weird problem, and they hug it out at the end, and like, it's the Huggins. And the first thing you see is like somebody goes, "Hey, who insanguinated the dog?" and then the teenage boy like admits to it, and he's like, "I'm sorry, Dad." And he's like, "Well, it took a lot of guts to admit that." It's like, you know what to do, and they all hug. And then Alex Winter comes in. He's like in some kind of like coveralls and like some extra like fat padding on him. He's like, "Who killed my Rosie?" And then like that guy, ah. And then like the guy's like, I can't stay mad at you, and they all have a group hug. And then the next time you see it, it is fucked up. Like they don't even like pretend to like have this like family like hugging. Like the dad comes in covered in blood and drunk. He punches the mom, and then the kid's trying to stand up for the mom, and then eventually like just everybody's fighting each other. Like the mom is just punching the son, and the dad and the daughter's punching the dad, and then the plumber guy comes in again. Is like, "Who killed my wife?" and then like the dad admits to it, and then they all get in a group hug at the end. It's like fucking weird.
Yeah, there seemed that. Yeah.
So yeah,
check
out the Idiot Box. I think I think most of it's good. There's one thing that's really fucking stupid where it's essentially it looks like Clerks. It's shot in black and white, and I think it's supposed to be like this weird character who like all he does is smoke and eat beef jerky. So they have like this stomach grumbling like that happens constantly. Like they just dub that in like. And it's supposed to be like he's like a late night clerk and he's like making a talk show out of the security cam footage, but like doesn't work at all. It's just time filler.
It's like, okay, we got 13 minutes to fill, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then at the end of every episode, there's a they have a computer generated character that like recaps what happens in the episode and like they re-show footage again. So like the whole like half of the show is just recycled footage from previous episodes. But it still
Like
works.
they're working on a pretty tight idea. Yeah.
I mean, they only made 6 episodes, so I guess there was just an experiment. So
Yeah. Yeah, the MTV in the early 90s was basically unlimited. Like, yeah, just do whatever you want. Just don't show boobs or do, but do it in a fun way. But yeah, you can make anything you want to, essentially.
and like yeah, that's about time because there was other stuff before that. Because there was like Mark Maron had like a show on MTV, or there was Remote Control. I know that existing, but I don't remember Remote Control at all.
I remember it vaguely.
Because I think that was like fuck one of the. I think that was like what's his name? Colin something.
Colin Quinn?
Yeah, I think I was Colin Quinn was a host of Remote Control. There's a lot of comedians that like ran through Remote Control.
Yeah. Yeah, because what did Jon Stewart host on MTV? He was a game show host on there for a while.
Yeah,
I think what it was it Cram?
might have been it.
I don't remember, but yeah.
And there was like
Yeah.
Short Attention
No.
Spans Theater. That's the one that Mark Maron did.
Okay, I remember that one. I do remember that one. The most one I remember most is Liquid Television.
Yeah. I think there's only like
You
two.
know-
I think there's only 2 seasons of Liquid Television, but like it's so memorable.
Yeah, because between the early phase Beavis and Butthead and Eon Flux, it was like, what the fuck are we watching?
Yeah.
And then just strange stuff like
I mean, it's all
in-
strange.
animation and yeah, but some of the ideas were really.
Remember Dog Boy? That one was stupid.
Yeah,
That was live action, but they like had people painted like almost like it was claymation. It was just fucking weird.
yeah, it almost didn't make sense.
No, it didn't. But it was
Yeah, I
deep
mean,
in there.
Nothing. There's nothing coherent about it. Yeah, I remember all the Liquid Television.
Yeah, I don't remember any of that because I didn't have cable until like maybe 2000 to 1999, maybe. so I didn't watch any of that shit.
I don't even think there's like been releases of Liquid Television. You probably just got to find that on YouTube or something.
It's kind of like Beavis and Butthead, where they used a lot. Some of that stuff had like copyrighted material, copyrighted music, copyrighted sections of videos.
Yeah, because that was like one of the advantages MTV had back in that day is that they had like the way they licensed music was weird, but basically they're allowed to license the music essentially for free and broadcast it on their network, but it was never intended to be like for home video. So that's why Beavis and Butthead got fucked and Daria got fucked too. Well, Daria was okay because most of that show was about the writing and the characters, but there's a lot of music they just extracted from that and it made it somewhat less because it's just missing random Nirvana or No Doubt and stuff like that.
Yeah. What was the other one? The Letters to Cleo.
What's Letters to Cleo?
It's where the girl talks really fast. I forget how the song. The song's called Here and Now.
Oh,
But she's like almost doing quadruple track singing. They use that a lot in Daria. They use that a few times. Because Daria was like the Breakfast Club for the 90s kids.
yeah.
That was kind of the vibe there. It was like, what if the dark chick had a personality and everyone around her was just as fucked up? And Or actually, she was normal, and everyone else was kind of fucked up. But yeah, that's a lot of the early '90s MTV stuff was great, just because no one had done anything like that before either. That was basically TV made for either you had to have a weird imagination or smoke a lot of dope to really like that. I was more in the weird imagination crowd, but I really like this stuff.
Well, yeah, it was kind of that first like adult comedy animation. It's kind of the first run of that stuff, which is probably an offshoot of just The Simpsons being a thing.
Yeah. Now, where did the Simpsons concept? That was
a Tracy Ullman show. That was where they first came out.
Show. Yeah. And that was weird. That definitely was not. You could tell it had its roots in that, but that first one on the Tracy Ullman show, that was a lot darker than the Simpsons became.
Yeah, because that was then that had something to do with like nuclear war and like hiding in a bunker, and it was like slightly violent.
Yeah, Homer was very abusive.
Yeah,
like he beat the shit out of Bart. Like, I mean, that happens in the regular Simpsons.
Yeah, he
too.
chokes him, but it's all supposed to be funny. It's like parental abuse.
No, here he's like throwing punches and everyone's eyes are bulging and their irises are red, and it's like, oh, okay.
That was acceptable at the time. So
yeah, I mean that show's been on TV what 30 some years.
Yeah, since '89 when it first came out. So yeah, it's 31 years.
Yeah, I mean I was in middle school when that came out, and now I'm well into old age. So. That's still going. It'll go on forever too, and like 100 years from now, The Simpsons will still be on.
As long as it makes money, they'll figure out Vocaloids for all the cast, so they don't need them anymore. It's just all robots that do the voices.
Yeah, you just type the dialogue in. You don't have to have all these Scientologists doing your dialogue. What else? What else did we have?
Well, should I talk about Parasite?
Well, no, I want to watch it.
Oh, yeah, okay. So do I.
You don't want me to sell you on Parasite, like why you should watch it.
No, I pretty much know I'm gonna like it. I like that guy's other movies. So.
I just like around the hour point, I was getting kind of like bored with the movie. It's like, and then like right around then, that's when like I guess like the surprise happens, but it's not really a surprise. It's just like where it goes is unexpected, but it's not like some supernatural shit happens. But it's interesting.
Yeah.
And then you saw some of Drive to Survive.
Yes, I saw some of that. That's pretty well done.
Yeah,
that's I can't believe the amounts of money that people have.
Yeah,
like because talking about like the who are the upstarts, the guys from America,
Haas.
Yeah, the Haas. It's like we got 43 guys and like $300 million, and everyone's like, well, holy fuck, how are you even doing this? Mercedes-Benz has more people on vacation right now than you have working for you. Payroll alone's like $600 million just for their Formula One team. It's like, wow.
So are you watching season 1 then?
Yeah, I just started from the beginning.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember that was like one of the conversations where like he was explaining how big his team is, and they're like, Mercedes has 10 times the amount of people and 10 times the budget. And he's like, yeah, I know that, they have money. Gunther Steiner is an interesting character because it's like you kind of want to hate him, but you kind of like him too. But he's like very straightforward. And I don't know if that's because he's just like a bully or if because English is like his third or fourth language and he just doesn't have time to like figure out polite ways to say things.
Yeah, this is I watched the one with the two with the Australian guy.
Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he ends up leaving Red Bull at the end of that season to go to Renault.
Oh, okay.
So that that'll be a point of debate later on in this series, but then, that's what happens. But because that's where Max Verstappen, like, he was on the come up, and Daniel Ricciardo kind of like got put in like the B driver seat, and he didn't like that because it's like, no, I'm the A driver, like, I've won races. Like, yeah, but this guy's like 10 years younger than you, and he's already won a race. He won his first race because the Mercedes crashed each other out of that race, so that's how Max Verstappen won his first race.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the thing was interesting where the guys didn't put the tires on right twice.
Yeah, that
It's
was
like-
heartbreaking.
That's like, you do that once, it's like, all right, but the second time, like, I'm sorry I fucked up. Yeah, you're right, you did. Pack your shit and leave. That doesn't happen. You think it would. It's like, you got one fucking job to do. And then the guy freely admits, well, we didn't really practice a lot. Really? Okay. Before the Grand Prix in Australia, you didn't. All right. Okay.
Yeah, there are limited things you can do with a car, because you can't just take your car out and, like, let's see how the car works. Like, that's illegal in F1. Like, that's what the what the fuck do they call it? Testing. That's what testing is like, it's a allotted course where, like, you build your car, you bring it here, and you literally test your car in that 2-week period.
Yeah.
Like, you can't.
Which also becomes a qualifying thing too.
Yeah. And there are, before each race, there is, like, you have pre-qualifying and testing and stuff like that there too, and that's another way to figure out your car. But it is kind of absurd that, like, they can build a car, they can throw it in a wind tunnel, but nobody can drive it until these certain periods to see how it actually works.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get the vibe from the different. I mean, a lot of it's like a personality drama, but some of it is they do explain things, and I kind of get the vibe. It's like Formula One's one of those things where they come up with things to make it exciting and competitive, but it's almost like the technology has so outstripped their ability to make rules. It's like it has to keep evolving. The rules and the cars evolve every year.
Yeah.
And then you got the drivers stuck in the middle of that who are ready to. Half these guys they're like, they're ready to have a nervous breakdown all the time. And then you got, like, the team manager and the team captain, and it's like one of them is the guy who writes the checks, and the other one's the guy who's like the coach. And yeah, they don't always. There seems to be a lot of ambivalence there, especially on the Haas team.
Yeah.
It's like, is this guy? What are you doing for me here?
Well, the weird thing with the first season is that Mercedes and Ferrari didn't let them be filmed.
Yeah.
So, like, the whole first season, like, all you get is a glimpse of, like, essentially the bottom rung teams, and the top one out of that is Red Bull. Like, they're the top team of the teams filmed in season 1. And they don't really spend a whole lot of time covering the technical details in the show. They really just find interesting ways to produce, like, personality dramas within the sport. So season 2 gets a bit weird because they kind of, like, they up the ante with that. It's like all just personality driven, and then the first season kind of seemed to go chronologically with, like, race to race and, like, how it was progressing. And season 2, they don't follow it chronologically at all. They just kind of like filmed a bunch of shit, and then they kind of packaged together an episode based on, like, how the interactions throughout the season. Like, one episode would be like how two different drivers were butting heads against each other throughout the entire season, and then the next episode will be about, like, the beginning of the season for McLaren or something like that. So that's kind of weird, but it makes for better, I don't know, episodes, I guess.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's something. It's one of those obscure sports. I know a little bit about it, but not a lot.
Yeah.
So it is kind of interesting to see and just the amount of money that gets poured into something. That
when you see the paddock, which is where, like, they have all the teams, and, like, they have these buses and everything is just immaculately shiny everyone has clothes. There's no dirt anywhere, and it's like how do you, and like they're on the move, like they flew the shit in or trucked it in or boated it in, and like it gets on the ground and it seems like a team of people had to clean all this and make it look pristine. It's like, this is a lot of money just for show. Like there's no practicality to any of this.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it would. Yeah, but just the amount of money that goes into this, just from the three and a half episodes I've seen, is like, oh, this is staggering for something. I mean, it's not obscure here. People know what Formula One is in America, but it's not like NASCAR or Top Fuel or anything.
No.
And it's like these people almost have more money. Like, are they true?
Well, it's more like if you think about like football, like American football, where it's like, we have the games once a week on Sunday, and then like there's like this heavy consolidation towards the games played on just that day. So that's kind of how F1 works, where it's like, it's like one game a week, and then everybody comes and watches that week. So it consolidates well, but it's not necessarily something that's like ongoing constantly.
Yeah. I'm always curious, like, what the relationship, like IndyCar and kart and all that. Was that all one thing at one time and it split off, or?
Yeah, I believe so.
Was that always separate? Okay, I never knew.
Yeah, because I forget. Yeah, I forget who it is, but because the Indianapolis 500, that was always IndyCar, right? And then kart was something else.
Right. Well, kart was the people that owned the Indianapolis Motor Speedway got really greedy, and so everyone else formed kart.
Oh, okay.
Because Indianapolis 500 was the biggest race in the world at one time, and then it became the biggest thing in kart, and then it became the biggest thing in IndyCar, which is, I don't know how many races they have. I think they have 7 or something outside of it. Got really confusing, but it was all basically greed. Because I remember the Indianapolis 500 used to be huge. Now, no.
I mean, it's still a thing, but like nobody really cares.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as much as like something happens, like, oh, we're gonna watch this, and you're gonna watch one race, and you don't know any of the drivers, you don't know what's happened before or any anticipation of what's gonna happen after, but you're just willing to spend the moment to like watch the race, the one race.
The one race.
Well, can Danica Patrick win the race? Like, nope. Okay, well, never mind.
You throw fit in the pits and blame everyone else.
I think she got 5th one time, which like,
yeah,
it's you can't. It's not like people just let her go by. She fucking earned that, but.
Well, I hope people live in one.
It just seemed to be her off-field antics were a little like, huh? What's she doing? But she doesn't race anymore, so
no.
Nobody gives a fuck.
Oh, she doesn't race anymore at all?
No, she retired.
Oh, I thought
she had transitioned over to NASCAR, and then like eventually she retired like a few years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, because I thought she was still in NASCAR, because I don't follow NASCAR at all, so I just figured because NASCAR I know is the lower skill set as far as that's concerned, and it's probably easier to race and it's not as expensive and stuff like that, but at the same time
there's just there's more money in NASCAR than IndyCar.
Oh.
Which probably be an advantage for her because she's like so light compared to like the fucking beer swilling ham hocks that are in NASCAR.
Yeah. How tall is Danica Patrick? Like 5'2"? Not very big.
That, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I've never really seen pictures of her, so I didn't know if she was short or tall, I guess. So.
She's a very compact person.
Hmm.
I was shocked when she was on Joe Rogan and she was talking and she's like, yeah, I never graduated high school. I was like, what? Because I was just into racing. I just didn't have time. It's like, yeah, I might go do it later. She was like hitting around and she was like, yeah, I got into racing like really young age.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, if you follow the F1 stuff, like they do, like in the second season they'll follow it, but like those usually they all come from privilege. It's not like I fell into racing and then my parents scraped together. Like no, it's like
the Formula One car.
Yeah. Well, no, like all Formula One, they start from like karting, like little like go karts, like that's where they all started. But like some kids,
Yeah.
like they start at 8 and then they race for fucking 10 years, and then suddenly like they're getting hired at 18-year old to run an F1 car because technically they have 10 years of experience and shit.
Seasoned alcoholics at 15. It's ready to go.
Yeah, that's a. Yeah, there's been a few years where like people won a race and like they always have that celebratory champagne and like they win in the USA and they can't drink it because they're still under 21. It's like that's fucking crazy. Someone driving around a $20 million car and can't drink.
Literally put life into their own hands, but you can't have a beer. Yeah.
I mean, he's not. He's done driving. He can let him have a drink.
Yeah, we're not talking about before the race. That would be an element of risk in driving. Imagine that one driving league. It's like Jimbo has 4 shots. He's
But Greg's only on his second, so we favor Greg in this race.
Yeah, but Jimbo weighs 400 pounds. Here we go, folks. Semi-truck demolition.
What?
Drunk derby.
Well, so Formula One guys, like Colin's already talked about before, they're always way younger, seem to be in pretty good shape or pretty pristine shape. Whereas NASCAR, not that people are overweight or sloppy or anything, but there's a lot more overweight and older people in NASCAR than there are in F1 racing.
So I guess I can answer some of that question. In F1, I don't know if this is exactly what you're asking, but so it is literally an advantage to be smaller and less weight. It is literally an advantage. You have to be smaller. So, but here's a weird thing. So, I guess why F1 drivers, I guess you technically say they look handsome, is because they're very thin. But if you look at them, they have really thick necks because they have to do a shit ton of neck exercises to combat whiplash while they're driving the car.
Yeah,
because they're doing it.
That's through the gears.
Because like all those turns are like 6 Gs and shit. Like you're doing that like 100, more than 100 times in a race.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's why I was saying like F1. I don't know why you said handsome. I just said they're like in shape and they're actually like they're not dumpy or like overweight or like shitty.
Well, I mean like you'll see NASCAR drivers in like cowboy boots and shit and like torn jeans. But F1 drivers are in suits and shit like because that's the kind of presentation they want to give off. NASCAR wants to give off a blue collar presentation. So
even though most of them are millionaires and
yeah.
toilets of 90% of their fans if they had to, but yeah. This is like George Bush is a cowboy. Put on your shit kickers and
I'm a cowboy.
Well, it's been interesting recently because like all the races, all racing leagues have been canceled essentially this year, and they've been doing a video game racing.
Okay.
And like ESPN's been hosting it and stuff like that because ESPN doesn't have any sports to show, so it's like I guess we'll do esports. And there's
1986 World Series tonight, but yeah.
and so they've been having like real racers racing virtually with like fans and stuff like that. But they had a NASCAR guy, and he was doing a race and he gets on to do a check and he says the N-word and then he's been immediately fired from that. Now, Now what you would assume immediately, what I immediately assumed is like, oh, this is some southern redneck just like got out of hand or whatever and said something. It's like, this is how he's just naturally racist. But the guy who said it is an Asian American guy from California.
Yep. You told me about this earlier. Is like, yeah, this Chinese guy said the N-word on the racing NASCAR thing. I was like, what? Hold on, explain. And then he just explained it like you did. I was like, oh, that's really weird. Okay.
Because he actually
cowboy hat. Call him
yeah. Well, yeah, because he was actually a part of and like a champion of the like NASCAR like what do you call that, like
diversity?
Yeah, diversity thing or whatever.
Oh yeah, I know.
So now you got to get rid of your diversity because they made racist comments.
the way Grayson explained to me, it's like he didn't call someone that directly.
No,
It
he
was
was
more like in a cadence or a song, like.
well.
or
He
sing.
he was checking his mic. He didn't know he was broadcasting. He's like, "Can you N-words hear me?"
Okay.
Maybe he's listening to too much rap. That's what really the problem is.
Well, I remember when the guys on the line at work, for the black guys, they'd belt out like rap songs from like when I was in high school, like when you had bands called NWA, and you know what. But they would be singing those songs, and everyone would just like group singing. But whenever it came to that word, I would just I just stay silent. Say the rest of it. I slapped the bitch, I shot the bitch, fucked the. And, beep, beep, yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm not doing it, guys. I'm all for it until that word. I'm not getting sucked into the trap at work. Meet me outside of work, and I'll just be screaming at the top of my lungs. But in a work context, you got to be careful.
No, and I think more people need to acknowledge that, because to be honest, some of the shit that I've heard at work and stuff like that, not with the work I'm at now, people need to realize where the hell they're at and not act like it's their personal radio station or some other shit half the time.
Yeah, when I hear real racist talk or real sexist shit at work, I'm just like, okay, guys, I'm done. Oh, what's wrong? That upset you? It's like, no, that doesn't upset me at all. But it really upset me if I have to go home and tell my family, hey, we're going to have to move. Dad lost his job. I don't care what you say. You're not going to, it doesn't offend me at all. But I'm not going to be a party to it and try to replace this job, when I'm like 90 years old and looking for another job. No.
But another fun thing with this esports stuff is, so like these guys have like these really like elaborate rigs at home to do sim driving essentially at home.
Like 100-inch TVs and VR helmets and shit.
Yeah, and a seat that will move and vibrates and driving, shifting gears and these wheels that are actual wheels or whatever and shit like that. And then they got to the like, oh, what do you call that? What's the motocross racing league, like with the bikes and stuff, or like the lean and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. The ones where they lean crazy.
Yeah. So they're just playing with like Xbox controllers because there's nothing they can do to they don't have Sims at home to do like leaning in the video games.
Yeah, like that and control.
Well, they just don't make Sims like that, like where you control it by shifting your weight.
Some serious feedback monitoring. The closest you could come is one of those put in a penny and ride horses.
Well, I mean, Sega made a game where it was a motorcycle game where you drove it like that. You sat on top of a thing and you leaned it to turn the motorcycle, but that's like a $2,000 cabinet.
Yeah. Dad, I know what I want from this. Like, well, this better turn into a job if I'm making this kind of investment. Buying me a house someday. I'm putting out this kind of cash. So we watched a movie this week, or did we?
I did. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You already watched this, didn't you, Andrew? Because you suggested it.
Yeah, I already did. I watched the platform as well, and I kind of missed not being able to talk about that last weekend.
Oh, you can give your 2 cents on the platform.
Go ahead.
No, I enjoyed the movie thoroughly. I thought it was a very good movie and had a lot of good visuals to it, and a lot of good structural support for the way the class system works and trickle down economics and stuff like that, which is basically the notes everybody has on that movie, where it's pretty much clear what the point of the movie is.
Yeah.
The real mystery is why this has been developed in the first place, because it seems like maybe there's an overabundance of population, or the society is either that or so perfect that people are oh, we just want to go to jail for a specified amount of time to do things for ourselves, like read a book or quit smoking or some bullshit.
Yeah.
So
I think the most is they imply that the government thinks shit's gonna go crazy, and they're using this as a psychological platform to figure out how they can control people. but that's never explicitly explained. That's just kind of suggested.
Yeah, this movie more wraps itself around its core theme and doesn't really worry about the peripherals too much.
Yeah, I don't.
Describe this movie as what did I say it was? Eating horror, like there's body horror, and it's grotesque to watch people eat in this movie. And just,
Oh yeah.
intentionally so. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't like, well, the director didn't know what he was doing. No, the director knew exactly what he was doing. Very, very strange to watch. But yeah, I enjoyed the platform.
But this week we watched.
No.
What did we watch? The last thing he wanted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the stellar cast, but a shitty movie.
Yep.
Yeah, it never quite paid off.
Well, I remember. I started watching it like when we were supposed to do it like a few weeks ago, and then I fell asleep, and then so I just jumped ahead like 20 minutes because like I remember the whole Salvador part, so it's like all right, I was jumping forward, and the whole movie this time around I was like, did I miss something? And no, I didn't. They just didn't explain fucking anything.
No, I think they were. I don't know what the concept of this movie was. It's like, okay, we're gonna do a reshoot of Salvador, but with kind of a different cast but same idea. And but like was the director trying to challenge the audience to tell their own story?
I think so.
And it's just tentpole characters, and they're doing this stuff, and you're supposed to fill in their motivations, their backdrops, and all that. Because you had Willem Dafoe, you had
Anne Hathaway.
You had Anne Hathaway. You had Ben Affleck for 5 minutes total. You had Perez, who was cool to watch too. As you know, I mean, everyone.
Yeah, it's all good performances. It's just it's not directed well.
No, it's not. It's not. The shots are composed well. Like things look good.
Yeah, I mean it's competent in that way, but or maybe it's just edited poorly.
I don't know what happened with this movie, but it did not pay off. Because when it ended, I was like, "Huh? Okay,
Yeah.
now we're."
Yeah, when Ben Affleck shows up to shoot her, and then like you know that feeling when like you wash your clothes the night before work, and then you wake up and you realize you didn't dry them, and you're like, "Oh fuck." I had that feeling, but I was like, "Oh shit, was I supposed to care?"
No, you weren't.
And then they have that weird, like, artistic shot of her falling in the water that's just completely, like, out of context with the rest of the movie, and it just looks stupid.
Looked like they did some like second unit or B-roll. Like it was, I don't know that. Yeah,
Do you remember that? You remember that movie, The Spirit? It looks like they like just extracted it from that movie.
Yeah, like the scene, her death scene, and really her post-death, her corpse scene seemed like. It's like, oh, did they bring in another group just to shoot this part and then string the rest of the movie around? I mean, what were they doing? I don't know. It was weird. It was not good.
Or maybe because how little Ben Affleck is in this, they probably just shot them separately and just combined it together.
That could be, but you think people that make movies professionally, like you wouldn't be able to tell like it almost looked like the film was spliced together roughly.
Well, it's not. You can't expect people to make a professional movie with good actors in it. I mean, who else would waste the best? I mean, yeah, Ben Affleck wasn't in the movie very much, which kind of surprised me because he's in the trailer pretty heavily, and that's why I thought maybe it was going to be more like a movie where people played off each other, and it was a big character set piece, and there was like 2 or 3 different sides to this conflict. Instead, it was like, no, not that at all.
And I thought I was gonna explore the history more, but it's more just like it doesn't really. It's just more of a background thing.
Yeah, it's more of like a low background hum about the Reagan people were evil. You all know that, right? You all read Chomsky, right? You know how evil Reagan was, and it's like, okay, so we've established that you don't like Ronald Reagan, but so everyone in his orbit is just some kind of weird low grade killer, and they just want to do awful things, but there's no real context for the awful things they're doing. I mean, we're just gonna go hang out with some gay guy and, you know,
and then kill him for reasons.
and just kill him because
That's the only reason you kill people. Reasons.
I've stayed here for years, and you know he's always took care of me. Oh, let's kill him too. Let's kill everyone. I think there was some kind of there's supposed to be some kind of message and all that, but boy,
I mean, apparently this is based on a book that I don't know anything about. So, but
very different from the book I've heard.
oh, okay.
Other than like the premise and stuff, but the way the story unfolds in the book's a lot better. They bought the rights to this book, and their options were about to run out, so they could re-option the book to someone else. And they're like, "Hurry up, let's make a movie. Let's get some stars, get some money, let's fire it out of a cannon at the wall and see what sticks."
Ben Affleck has a free day on Triple Frontier. We'll just put him on a green screen and shoot some scenes from the movie.
Have him dress up, you know, wear a tie, and just kind of play Jack Ryan, but you know, an English Ryan, actually, who Jack Ryan was supposed to be. Do that. He actually did play Jack Ryan. But just play that character again, but that thing slant.
Play that character, but mad about John Krasinski playing him now.
Yeah. So yeah, the last thing you wanted is probably the last thing you want to see.
Yeah, don't watch it.
Yeah, don't. I usually
I did.
that, but in this case, it's like if you're expecting anything good, don't watch it. If you just want to waste 2 hours of your life, watch it.
We watched some stuff on here where it's like, okay, this is mediocre. Or this was like they were trying something and it didn't work. But this is like the first one I think like, no, just don't watch it.
I
want to see a movie about a reporter driven insane by all our strange drug activity. There's a new Jeremy Renner picture, Kill the Messenger. You know, watch that. That's interesting. Not perfect, but pretty good. Or watch Salvador. That's a great movie about, you know, out of control people.
No, there was a really good thing I did watch this week, though, is the second season of We Are in the Shadows, and that was really fantastic. The first two episodes aired this week, and that or for What We Do in the Shadows, and it was really good. Especially Haley Joel Osment's like cameo in an episode was pretty goddamn good. But like the first episode is basically like it's been a tough summer in Laszlo, and Nadja have run through like 10 familiars in the whole freaking summer because basically they just keep dying at a huge clip, and they don't even remember their names because they're like, John, who the fuck was John? Oh, the guy that lost all his intestines out of his asshole. That guy. Oh yeah, he was cool, or whatever. Just so they're talking about that, and Emotional Vampire. I can't remember the guy that plays him, but he's really. I like that they added that character to that TV show instead or after the movie because I think it adds more depth and different things to that. But that first episode was a good introduction back because I guess Guillermo's been killing vampire assassins that come to kill them, but he can't tell anybody because then they'll kill him for killing vampires. And so he's like staying up. He's been staying up 2 weeks straight without any sleep on coffee beans that he's been eating just to like kill vampires and shit. And he's like, I can't fall asleep. I can't. And then he's like, I protect you all the time. He's like, how do you protect this, Guillermo? Oh, nothing. But the second episode was better though because it was just Ghosts. It was the title, and then it was I guess there somebody said like there was a ghost in the house because it's throwing furniture around and shit, and like nobody believes it except for Nadja because she's like, oh yeah, ghosts definitely exist. They threaten our village all the time. And we had to take action, and then everybody's like, oh fucking bullshit, ghosts aren't real, you fucking pussy, or whatever. And then Guillermo talks to the vampires, and it's like, okay, so werewolves exist, you exist, warlocks exist, Babadooks exist. Like, so why not ghost? And it's like, you're fucking ignorant, don't believe the ghost lies, or whatever. And then there's ghost of Jeff or whatever on the fucking doorstep Nadja's talking to, and then Laszlo comes out and sees him and acts like he doesn't see the ghost, and he's like, "You're talking to thin air. Why would you do that?" And then he goes back inside. He's like, "There's a fucking ghost on the doorstep. Get a sword. We're gonna go kill him. Get the big one." And they go fucking like tackle him and shit, and then like get ectoplasm all of themselves. And then fucking the episode pretty much like coincides with like they figure out ghosts are around because people haven't finished up business, and they're trying to. If you want your ghost to live peacefully, you have to help them finish their business. So all their ghosts get summoned because they do a summoning. And so Laszlo's ghost is like, "Yeah, remember we were having like this really awesome sex the night I died and I didn't get to finish." It's like, that's my unfinished business. I was about to come really hard. And I really it's like, I really need to finish, man. And they just kind of like gives him a weird look because he's like, "I can't do it with these ghost hands. There's no feeling in these ghost hands." It's like, "I need human hands." And he's like, because it's like, it's not gay if you're jerking your ghost self off, right? And so it gets closer to the end of the episode, and Nadja comes back in the room to talk to Laszlo after she's talking to her ghost for a while and stuff. And so she comes and is like, "Oh, is your ghost crossed over?" He's like, "Oh, yes, it was very moving." And then she sees all this like goo like dripping off the ceiling in the chandelier, and she's like, "Oh, what did he pass through the ceiling? All the ectoplasm?" He's like, yes, the ectoplasm." He's like, "That's what it is." Just like shuts the fuck up and doesn't say anything else. Yeah. It's like, okay.
Happen on these ghost hunting shows.
What?
Ghost ejaculation.
Yeah, I wonder why there's because like that's pretty much a constant theme in a lot of ghost-based media is that there's ectoplasm or whatever, and there's like physical residue left from spirits. But like I've never seen that anybody bring that up as like, where did they get that from? Like, who made that up and who's been running with that as far as like Ghostbusters and other media and stuff like that.
That comes from what is the origin of that? I used to know that crap. I remember the seances and stuff they used to have in like the 1890s when that stuff got really big. I think that was one of the parlor tricks was they put like reactive chemicals and stuff in the room, and you know, as like the hucksters, and it's like, "Oh, it's from the ghost realm," and protoplasm from the beyond, and
petroleum and candle wax.
Yeah, it's like candle wax mixed with mercury, so it looks magical. And then when people, "I feel strange," it's like it's the spirits. It's like, instead of just blood poisoning. Always a letdown when you find out. It's like, yeah, you're about to go to the spirit world. It'll be a permanent one. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched.
That.
I watched completely other vampire stuff. I watched season 3 of Castlevania.
Oh, how?
Oh, yeah.
It was great. I mean, it was like kind of a rebuilding season, but like there's a lot of like good stuff in it, and it's almost just like hopefully there's a season 4 because like all the season 3 did was really build towards season 4. I think the second to last episode has a scene where there's like 2 wars going on and 2 sex scenes concurrently. They all happening at the same time.
Awesome. I like the first one you had me watch.
Yeah, it's
new seasons.
Yeah. And there's like some interesting stuff like they explain the night creatures, which that's that's what the Forge Masters make.
Yeah.
And it's like, so the thing with them is like apparently only humans can make night creatures. Because they have a soul or whatever. And then night creatures are just like, you take a dead body and you bring a soul up from hell, and that's what night creatures are. They're like souls from hell.
Okay, so it's like a fusion thing.
Yeah. And then they go even deeper into that. There's this episode where Isaac is like talking to one of his creatures because apparently this creature can talk and it can vaguely remember who he was. And it's just like, it's a guy who looks like a fly, but like a cross between a zombie and a fly. That's the guy it looks like. And he's like telling him his story. And apparently he was like a philosopher, like during he was like a Greek philosopher or something like that, and then like Christianity came about, and like the reason he went to hell is because humans started believing in Christianity, and then there was a place in hell for him then.
Oh, proactive damnation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was like really interesting, and then like why the night creatures like want to kill everybody is because like this is essentially revenge for them going to hell because everybody just started believing in something different. Because like I guess hell is essentially a construct of humanity's shared consciousness or something like that. I mean, they don't get into that, but I think that's what's implied.
Oh,
So that was really cool. So.
yeah.
No, I mean, I thought season 3 was really awesome just because, yeah, it's kind of like a new beginning for all the characters from the first two seasons, and it introduces a few new ones from the female vampire side. And I thought it was funny because, like, the first two seasons, like, there's always a tag on the front that says, like, violence, sex, nudity, and stuff. And I'm like, watch the two seasons. Like, there's been no nudity and no sex. And then it's like, oh, the last couple episodes of the third season have two sex scenes that lead to betrayals. So I guess the lesson for the season is don't have sex, you'll be betrayed.
Hope philosophies don't change on Earth. The health and beliefs you had no foreknowledge of.
Yeah, so I thought everything is amazing because I binge watched like the first two seasons in like a couple days because it's pretty easy to watch the first season because it's obviously pretty short.
Yeah, it's like 4.
Second season. Something. Yeah, and each season gets more substantial, so I'm thinking they're trying to sink more money into it now. So maybe they will definitely have a fourth season, but I haven't heard anything from Netflix because I don't know who makes it. I guess.
Yeah, Netflix produces it. I don't know who animates it, but yeah, Netflix can get kind of cagey about like having long running series. They kind of like do 3 seasons and then they're out.
But they should be.
BBC, but they're pretty close.
What's that?
They're not as cagey as BBC, but they get pretty close.
Yeah.
BBC will do a great series of 8 episodes. Like, oh, when's the next season coming out? 12 years? Like, what? What are we doing?
Yeah, I don't know. That's because the production cycles in Britain are weird because it's literally government funded. So it's like you can't just throw money at it. Like, let's do another season. It's like, no, it's like a government production. Like you have to use your limited resources in a particular way.
We've got to get our money from the public trust. Have a committee to justify it.
Because it's like
they partner up with HBO and stuff.
Yeah.
That's a different income stream or something. Like that's like discretionary. I don't know. Somebody explained it all to me once. But,
well, did you ever watch Spaced? Like the I forget all those guys' names.
Sounds familiar.
Simon Pegg, Nick Frost.
Yeah, those guys. And then I forget who the director is. The guy did Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
But anyways, like they did 2 seasons of that, and like it's a very like stylish show. And there's only like maybe like there's 2 seasons, but I think there's only like 16 episodes, and they're basically able to get away with it because they shot most of that like essentially illegally. Like they just shot it all in their own time and turned in their work, and then lied about how much time they spent making it. There's stuff like it's like Werner Herzog. He basically like would go to like film schools and essentially just like steal a bunch of shit, and then like, oh, what happened to that camera? It's like, oh, I don't know. And like, he's fucking filming a Gary Wrath of God in like South America and dropped it in a fucking river.
No, there was one movie I saw today that was on Netflix that I thought that was a theatrical release, but I didn't. Because remember the lead actor from Arrow, right? The guy that plays Arrow.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's like on Netflix. I think it's like Code 80 or Code 8.
Code 8.
So it's like basically, yeah. So it's like a world full of superheroes, and like basically it's illegal to have superpowers. You get detained, and they just start robbing banks and going on crime sprees and shit. So I thought that movie looked kind of interesting. Like it's definitely more low budget, not like the best special effects, but it seemed like it maybe had something interesting to say. So, but that it might just be trailer magic because obviously this is the thing he wanted wasn't very.
We'll find out. I put it as our next movie. So.
Oh, I didn't. I guess I didn't look. Is that on the notes? Because I didn't even see that on.
Yeah, yeah, it's on the notes.
Okay, sorry. So I'm poignant, but not very poignant. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, we also added a new book. I'm not sure if you saw that. So.
Yeah, I saw that. I just don't. I haven't looked it up yet to see how much it's going to cost and when I can get it. Basically,
you have my tablet, right? Then you have the book.
Oh yeah, shit. Sorry.
It's only like 142 pages, so it shouldn't strain your eyes too much.
Yeah,
oh, okay. No, because I've heard of that author. I just never read any of his books. So.
Harrow Chronicles.
But yeah.
And then I threw a couple of books on there that I haven't read yet. There's a giant bomb guy who like occasionally recommends some books, and the last one he recommended I really liked, so I threw those on there. But
oh, okay.
Gone Wild.
Yeah.
Gone Wild by Tom Sweeterlich.
Yep.
And then Nine Fox Gambit. I've heard of that. That was a Hugo nominee a while back.
Oh, okay.
By Yoon Ha Lee.
Yep.
And then, of course, my light reading suggestions.
Well,
I almost thought, did they... Oh.
Andrew, you got that book that Nathan suggested, the poems or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, the Dubliners. Yeah, I bought that because I thought that was going to be our next book. So.
Yeah, that one you can get for free.
Oh, okay.
Or for $4 at half price books.
$4 for half price books.
So I mean, did anybody do any research on the Clive Barker book at some point? Because I know you said that's in the notes as like, oh, I've always heard he's a good author, but I've never read one of his books. So. Oh yeah, Dean Koontz. I thought it was Clive Barker.
Well, Clive Barker also writes interesting books, but
that's why I was confused because it's still the same genre basically. So
no, Nathan was suggesting we read Phantoms because it's a bad movie, but it's supposed to be an interesting and weird book.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool.
Good book.
Because I've always kind of run to read that book, and I always kind of forget about it because I don't really buy a lot of horror books now.
Yeah, no, that's a good creepy one. I mean, it's a weird idea. The movie was terrible. I don't know how they fucked that movie up so bad.
It's Dimension. So, I think it was Dimension. Or maybe it was Grand Mystery. I can't remember. I remember there's that joke in one of the commentaries for Mallrats where Ben Affleck's there, and he said something like, "You have one Gramercy failure, I have 4." Back when Ben Affleck could basically just say whatever the fuck he wanted and not get in trouble for it.
Yeah.
It's essentially why they can't be friends anymore. Or not close friends.
Oh, because, yeah.
Ben Affleck what?
Oh, speaking of which, we had all seen the Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, I still like that movie. I wouldn't say I was going to watch it like a lot of times, but I like that movie overall.
I think Nathan reacted to it and said he was sad.
Seemed like almost it's like kind of like a cassette tape that you record similar music over and over again on, and it just kind of fades a little each time. It had its high points, but none of that stuff's is, it's just not as good as it used to be.
Yeah, I said I said like I enjoy parts of it, but I don't think it's a good movie at all. Like I think like half the jokes they're looking at the camera. Like, did you get it?
Yeah. It just doesn't seem to have the same vibe. I mean, well, everyone's in their 50s too, so.
Yeah.
Or least mid 40s. So heroin induced or diet induced early 50s, because Kevin Smith's a little older than me, right?
I think it's
Yeah, a little bit more.
I think he's almost 50, because I remember like the last Joe Rogan podcast he did. He said like one of the things he was thinking about doing, he just wanted to do one pull up before he was 50, and Joe Rogan's like, "Oh, we can get that to happen."
Oh,
But I don't think I haven't seen any Twitter stuff from him where like I'm almost done a pull up. So I don't think he's doing that.
I mean, the stuff that stood out for me was like when who was the guy from Portlandia, and he was their Uber driver.
Oh, Fred Armisen.
Yeah, that was what was that ride service called? Ride Me or something?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, there was all little things, and then they had Molly Shannon, like that was funny. But yeah, other than that, I was thinking it'd be a lot funnier. Either I've gotten older, or this is just not effective anymore. I don't know which.
No, it's not good.
Oh, so I haven't aged.
No. I don't know. We watched Dogma for the 99 thing, and like that seemed to like hold up surprisingly well.
Yeah, that was a good movie. I mean, all the original Clerks, Mallrats, I was never a fan of. I know there's a lot of tropes that come from that, but it just wasn't my favorite movie. But yeah, Dogma and Chasing Amy, and it's like those movies are all very watchable. This just seems like, and even the second Clerks they did, where they came back around, that had some good moments in it.
Yeah.
The guy that was gonna get screwed by the donkey because they were having a donkey show. They thought it was a girl.
Like everybody else has been saying, though, it's like the sense of humor like Kevin Smith employs, it doesn't really change over time, and it kind of just stays the same, but it doesn't age well as far as him writing new material. I thought there was plenty of points in the movie that were entertaining and good to watch and stuff like that, but I wouldn't say this is a wide appeal movie, and it's basically, you know what you're getting when you're going into it. You're not going to get a command performance movie that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. You're just going to get some weed stoner humor for a little bit, and that's pretty much
it's essentially like if a Kevin Smith fan made a movie, this is the movie they'd make, but it's just made by Kevin Smith.
Yeah, it's an homage from a film amateur. It'd be like, that was pretty good. But it's not. The guy who knows how to make movies, knows how to be funny, and I don't know.
I did think like having Val Kilmer as Silent Bob was kind of a touching little thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there were elements of this movie where I was genuinely amused. It's just as a whole package. Yeah. It was kind of like...
I haven't seen Tusk, but I can tell you Yoga Hosers is terrible. But it's also, I watched that movie knowing it wasn't a movie for me. So this is probably better than Yoga Hosers. So if you want to see Kevin Smith's worst movie, Yoga Hosers, I believe, is available on Netflix.
Oh, okay. Yeah. One based on his podcast, right?
Yeah. He was supposed to do 3 podcast movies, but I think they only made Tusk and Yoga Hosers.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think the other one. I think the other ones like they wanted to make the giant boxing Jesus movie.
Oh yeah. It's where he's got to become a giant and kill Jesus.
Or it's like Satan versus Jesus, and they just become giant, like Godzilla-sized people and box in the middle of like New York.
I thought they were going to do the one too about the Sasquatches where they take over the earth.
Oh yeah, they were supposed to make that, but I guess they got. Yeah, they must.
Which was really, really funny because of Brian Mosier's acting skills. It's like, okay, act like you just woke up and the Sasquatch is here, and he's like, they're everywhere. You know how monotone guy.
Yeah.
They're taking over. And it was so funny to hear him. That was kind of the golden age of Smodcast too. Thing that came and went, but I don't know. Nothing ages well.
No, not really.
Except for BoJack Horseman.
Yeah.
Well, I've been listening.
That,
I've been listening to the BoJack Horseman podcast Horseman, and they've been reviewing every episode, and and I was having this thought recently, like, so like season one's hard to get into because I'm still like trying to convince Andrew like, no, you need to watch this, but like there is something like uncomfortable and uneven about the first season, especially if you don't like the animation style, because it is the animal human stuff is just kind of weird and disconcerting.
Yeah.
Um.
Random.
Yeah, and I was really because I've like rewatched like BoJack Horseman multiple seasons, multiple times. And the only show I've ever really done that with is The Wire, and because it's like so you watch like BoJack Horseman the first season, you can say it's like it's uneven. They don't know what they're doing with it. It's like it's kind of funny, goofy, but it's also like weirdly serious. And then like the further on you get in, like the later seasons, like, oh, this is clearly better. But like when you go back and watch the first season, you realize like, oh, I just wasn't prepared to watch this show yet. There's nothing wrong with the first season. I just wasn't prepared to watch it yet. Which like that's the same thing with The Wire, where it's like The Wire, like you watch the first season and you kind of don't get it, and you get to like the third season, it's like, oh, this is brilliant, and then you go back and watch the first season, and you just see all these things they put in there. Like all this stuff in the background, and you just like pull more out of it the more time you like spend watching it.
I need to catch up on BoJack Horseman.
Yeah, they just had.
Because this is their series finale this year, right?
Yeah, it's already out. So the whole series is out.
Oh, okay.
Because they had the last season in 2 parts, and the second part came out in February. So.
Just before the pandemic.
Yeah. Just in time to be sad with a cartoon horse. There you go.
the fuck? I'm sorry. No, I always keep meaning to watch BoJack Horseman. It's just there's so much shit to watch anymore as far as all the streaming services and all this content that comes out. Right now, it kind of seems like a dry bed a little bit because all the movies that got delayed from the studios, meaning all the on-demand movie theater ones that are $20 aren't really going to come out, and all stuff releasing on video recently has been kind of lackluster too, unless you want to see the movie Cats or Dr. Dolittle or some horse shit fucking movie like that. So I'll probably have more time to catch up on streaming service stuff throughout the next couple months until all this shit is more regular and people go back to being insane and want to be infected with shit just because they don't want to stay in their house for another 5 minutes. So
did anybody pick up Quibi?
Oh no, I didn't pick up Quibi.
Okay.
Not gonna happen. Not for that kind of money anyway.
How much is it?
That was like $9 or whatever, if I remember right.
That seems about average for a streaming service, but
is that the streaming service you're supposed to watch while you commute?
Yeah, it's only on your phone.
Episode, yeah.
Yeah, that's. And I only got unlimited data for whatever US Cellular lets me still have unlimited data. So, and as soon as businesses start opening up, I'm sure all the business freebies will go away too. So.
Well, March 1st is, or what is the next month?
May?
Yeah. May 1st is when all the unlimited data stops on my end. So I watch like 19 movies a day. Of course, that's when we're going back to work too. So.
Oh.
Yeah, they can't. Let's see. What did my stock thing say today? They're gonna post a $2.9 billion loss for this quarter. They can't sustain body blows like that too long before they cease to exist.
Oh, yeah.
No, and I wouldn't expect them to.
Andrew, I think you wanted to talk about Star Wars.
Yeah, the last movie, the fucking piece of shit movie that it was. Oh God, I thought I talked about it last time. Maybe I didn't. I don't know.
No, we didn't get into it because I talked about it when I saw it, and so I just want to see what your thoughts on it. Really sell Nathan on this fucking movie.
I wouldn't say there's any good part to that whole movie. Maybe when Han Solo talks to Kylo Ren for the last time, but I mean, other than that, like, it was a pretty shit show movie. But to be honest, you had two movies that were inconsistent in tone before that, and you kind of trying to make them all mixed together and not really talk about anything, and all this late character development, like fucking Poe Dameron, like suddenly it becomes a spice smuggler in the last movie, and it's like, who gives a shit at this point? You're supposed to build attachments to a character in the first movie, not the fucking third. Like, it doesn't matter. You're doing all this character development for nothing. You're not adding anything to it. You might as well fucking put more cool action scenes in, or more exposition for villains or something. It just seemed like they were fucking lazy as shit with everything. The Knights of Ren never did shit besides get their ass kicked. They looked menacing, but they never did a goddamn thing. And fucking, it's just so disappointing. Like, I rented it thinking, like, hell, it's not supposed to be very good, and everybody kind of hates it, but maybe there's some good redeeming part. And it's just, there's no good redeeming part to the whole fucking...
It looks good. There's some cool action.
I mean, yeah, Lando Calrissian comes back, but that's just a fucking showpiece. Like, if you want to see him fuck a 20-year-old at the end of the movie. I just don't get it. I don't get why people should fucking care about that movie, and they totally screwed that franchise over.
Yeah, people don't, so. People don't like that movie, and they're right to not like it.
I mean, and I know people give, Rise of Skywalker was the second one? I can't remember the damn title now.
Last Jedi.
Oh, Last Jedi, okay. That was the last one. And I know that gets a lot of shit for being the worst one, but I still like that movie far better than this goddamn movie.
At least it took a chance. And...
I know everybody hates the high sequence one thing, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing you cut out of that movie, but everything else I enjoyed.
I don't mind it that much. I wouldn't say it's structured well and it really fits well with the movie, but to be honest, I think you needed that to break up the movie a little bit more, because otherwise, like, you have the constant tension I think they could have built on with the whole, hey, we're being chased to death sequence they were building in back when they're coming from, but there was no real problem solving you could do there besides doing what the Admiral did in the end, which is basically abandoning ship and trying to just escape invisible onto the planet.
Well, I thought I thought what they're gonna do from there on, from forward, because there was that whole thing with Benicio del Toro, and he's like, "Hey, I'm selling weapons to both sides." That seemed like the interesting thing to focus on. Was like the real evil is like the rich people selling weapons to both sides. But then they just dropped that immediately. It's like, no, and they're like, we just want Jedis doing Jedi shit.
Yeah, and that's why I don't get either, because I was almost kind of expecting to see Benicio del Toro in this movie. Because he's a great actor. And
let's give Finn a black girlfriend because he's too lonely.
I don't think he's getting a black girlfriend. I think Lando's gonna fuck her first, because she immediately transferred over to him during the fucking movie at the end. And like Finn like suddenly has a different haircut for some reason, because I don't know what the fuck that was about. All the characters they established in the second movie are just completely abandoned and left on the wayside. And it's like, you keep developing the universe. Is it Maggie's the Resistance Fighter from the second movie, the bomber pilot's sister or whatever, that like is still alive. Like, she's totally, I mean, she has a few lines, and then there's that one guy from Lost that's in there for no reason, and it's like, why'd you hire him? That was a bigger paycheck. You could have just hired a fucking extra would get paid scale.
The same reason Kerry Russell's in it is like they're friends with the director.
Oh yeah, I guess that does make sense. But at the same time, it's like, really, you guys should just, I don't know, it could have been a better movie as far as like overall consistency, I think. But it's not. It's really hard to mesh all those movies together, and it's really hard to save the franchise from what was basically a Death Note having a really bad second movie review and two different directors. I think that they could have helmed one director into this trilogy and made his even just hire J.J. Abrams for all 3 movies. I know he probably wouldn't have done it, but it at least would have been a consistent message and would have stayed on tone.
They were supposed to give Ryan Johnson his own trilogy, but that's not happening. And then they're gonna give the Game of Thrones guys their own trilogy, but then that's not happening.
Well, good. They don't deserve shit. They fucked up their own fucking show. Because every time I see the Free Folk Reddit and it says like, "Oh yeah, I remember this that never led to anything," and it's like, "Oh yeah, just like most of the Star Wars shit they developed never led to anything." It's just bullshit. It's not anything, and that's why it makes me sad. Because Rogue One is a spectacular movie, and I'm hoping that they do I think the Rogue Squadron movie is still in development, as far as I know.
I don't know.
I haven't heard. I haven't heard it's been canceled.
Yeah,
like some of the other ones have.
I've heard delays, but I don't know because like I think it's ever since Solo, they've kind of like pumped the brakes on all their Star Wars shit. Even though Solo's like probably it is a better movie than fucking Rise of the Skywalker.
Oh yeah, it's a far better movie, and I know people didn't like Solo either when it came out, but I thought that movie was actually far better than most of the Star Wars shit they'd come out with. Like it has a little bit of humor.
Yeah,
you still know the characters.
It's stupid, but it's fun. It's like a Fast and Furious movie in Star Wars.
So yeah, I mean, I wish they would do Star Wars better because I know Disney wants to because there's certain things when they talk about honest trailers and like movie reviews for Star Wars where it's like they try treating the humor like it's the Marvel universe where it's like everything's scripted that way, and it's like I know they want to just make money and that's their main objective, which is fine, but you do that by being consistent and trying to do things well. You don't do that by just having the same approach to every property.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's tried to do this, but really only Marvel has done it well. So.
Well, yeah. Because, I mean, yeah, it's not like anybody else is doing comic book movies really well, because me and you both saw the Harley Quinn movie, and I wouldn't say that was a well-done movie.
No, I liked it. It was edited, like, poorly. But I think, like, all the action, I think how it looked was good. There was good performances. It was funny. There's some unexpected things. It was just, like, it had the same problem that Suicide Squad did, where you had to do, like, 5 different origin. You had to explain 5 different people's origins. And so, like, you get halfway through the movie and, like, nothing's moved forward because you're still doing backstory for all your characters.
Yeah, and that's you.
I thought the Huntress was really funny, like how she's like this total badass, but she's just really awkward about like being cool. Like when she's killing people, she's like really awesome, but then she's like tries to have like say something cool, and it's like, yeah, take that after she's done a flip and kick somebody in the face with a knife, and it's like, yeah, it's like she's just awkward and weird.
Well, people said that's actually the way Bruce Wayne should be portrayed now. Is that it's like, yeah, a rich guy that had all the training and all the benefits and stuff, but he's just really awkward because he doesn't know how to interact with people because he's rich and distance himself. And it makes perfect sense. I think, I liked all the characters, like, because we talked about before, like the female cop is the main character or a character that came over from just like Harley Quinn, the Batman animated series. So Rosie Perez, is that her name?
Well, that's the actress, yeah.
Or I can't remember Rose Perez or Rosie Perez. That's why I was like, I don't want to fuck up her name because I like her as an actress. So it's, but yeah, it's like hopefully they do another movie with that and actually focus on the whole squad instead of just Harley Quinn. But we'll see. I don't know how well it performed overall with the whole coronavirus thing.
Not well. I think it's the lowest grossing DC movie, so that's unfortunate.
That's not good.
I also don't know.
Not gonna get it.
I don't know how much they spent on it, but I think it was like it wasn't $200 million, but I think it was at least $100 million. So I don't know. Well, that's the funny thing. Someone compared it because you're comparing it to superhero movies, but if you look at the budget and how much it made as much money as Ford versus Ferrari. Like they performed pretty much exactly the same, but people praised Ford versus Ferrari, and then there was like, oh, another bomb from the DC Universe people.
Yeah, it'd be nice if DC could get their message consistent across their movies and like have a consistent universe, but we'll see. I mean, so Wonder Woman's delayed, right? It's not going to come out at the same time.
Yeah, because it was supposed to be out like next month, and I think it's been delayed till August, maybe, but we'll see. I mean, they fucking just kicked that Fast and Furious movie to next year, so.
Yeah, and I was surprised by that because I'm like, really? I mean, not that it probably isn't a good idea because it sounds like that's probably more realistic now, but it just seemed like at least you could have waited till like November or something, and because like supposedly all the MCU movies are going to be really thrown off now, and everything's going to be delayed at least a year on the timeline now. So, I mean, not that I care about the next Doctor Strange movie.
Usually, like summer and November and December are pretty locked in for like big either big budget movies or like award chasing movies. Like that stuff's usually like pretty well locked in. But now, yeah, everything's gonna get weird. Basically, gonna have like two. Well, also, I don't know like what movies are being shut down now that were meant to be finished for next summer. Like what happens there? We're just pushing this summer's movies to next summer. Like what the fuck happens? But we'll see.
Yeah, and also, like how you're gonna get these things. You know, even if you go to theaters, like what theater are you gonna show them at? Because I don't know if you guys heard, AMC probably gonna go bankrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard they're raising capital somewhere from somebody, and then they named like the other big theater chains, and out of the top 10 of them, like 6 of them have billions of dollars in debt, and it's like, whoa, this is, you know, if this continues much longer, it's like you're just going to be streaming.
The death of the movie theater. Coronavirus killed it.
Yeah, it wasn't just the people that went there.
No, and that's why I'm kind of worried about that too. But everybody seems to think now. But I have no idea how it's charting with the whole everybody paying $20 just to rent a movie basically directly from the theater. Because AMC, I know, has that platform set up, and they have that to fall back on if they're going to really survive as a business. But I don't think any other theater even has a streaming service like that, and pretty much everybody can just get it on any streaming service anyway. So I wouldn't say AMC has a leg up with that anyway.
I mean, like for now, like the theaters only exist now for like studios to double dip. It's like watch it in the theater and then watch it when it comes out in home video. That's pretty much the only reason they exist now.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm kind of tired of that double dip because it's nice to be able to buy stuff when it comes out because you know you like the movie, but it really sucks buying it, taking a chance because obviously they don't make the trailers look like complete shit to help themselves because they won't sell tickets otherwise. So I mean, I don't know, unless it's the new Charlie's Angels movie. Does anybody want to watch that? I've heard that's really horrible, which not surprised by considering the trailer looked like complete garbage.
I just feel sorry for, is it Elizabeth Banks? That's her name, right?
Yeah, Elizabeth Banks, yeah.
Because I like her, and I thought at least the first Pitch Perfect movie was all right, and I was like, yeah, I want to see her do more stuff, and then it's like, oh, no.
No, because, I mean, even Sir Patrick Stewart's in that movie. I know it's probably a paycheck movie for him, but, I mean, it's like Kristen Stewart can't seem to, like, get a good movie, apparently, and I don't know if any of the other actresses in that movie are actually big name enough to really impact their careers, but, I mean, I don't know who wrote or directed it either, but nobody likes it, not even women.
Elizabeth Banks directed it. I'm not sure if she wrote it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll see if she has another directorial credit anytime soon. So.
Pitch Perfect 4. Here we go.
Yeah. Oh no, that franchise is over. Thank God, because after like 2, it was pretty shit. I watched all 3 of them, and I regret watching the 3rd because it was pretty fucking horrible.
Nice. Yeah, we should probably close it up for night. So.
Yeah,
but I know it's
sorry.
It's like 1 a.m. where Nathan is. So.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's all I have.
okay.
This is Conlon.
Andrew.
Goodbye, America.